Okay, well, I got kicked off of TikTok Live because, I don't know, someone got mad, I swore. I have no idea. So we're just going to videotape it on here. I am on my way back from, and I look like dog shit. I don't even care. I've been crying, so it is what it is. 3 days ago, I went down to the IVF center to have an internal ultrasound and blood work done, and I had, I think, like 8-ish follicles, but only 3 that like were like good size. So like some of them were like itty bitty tiny. So she's like, you need to be on more, like you need to be on the hormones like longer than what you're currently on them for. Ooh, it's time for Botox. I'm getting wrinkles. She's like, you need to be on them for, God, seriously, pick a lane, dude. You need to be on them for longer than you've been on for. Follicles are growing, but slowly. So that's what I was told 3 days ago. But she's like, you know, you need to be realistic, because say having 7 follicles, they want a minimum of 10, between 10 and 20. So I don't even have the minimum. So I spent a lot of time crying, which is why I didn't go on and do any updated videos to say, hey, like this is, you know, what's going on, because I was just too upset. Because what really it comes down to is I have to go through, at that point, the options were continue to take the meds, see what things look like in 3 days, possibly use egg donors, or stop taking the hormones and waiting and then trying again next month. And we have had our cycles canceled since January. Like, there's a reason why they keep getting canceled. So like, I just don't. And these hormones are awful. They've affected every aspect of my life. There's been a lot of work that I have put on hold, moved days, stuff like that, because I work for myself. So she's like, I just think we need more time, but like if these small ones grow, like we'll be good. And you should produce some more. So I went in today, so today's Friday, and I went in Wednesday. So I go in today, and she said, well, they're growing just really slow. And she's like, what'd she say? She said, you know, now you have 5. And I just kind of looked at her, and I'm like, so I have less than I did 2 days ago. And she's like, well, I don't know. I'd have to look at how many you had. And I am like, well, I know how many I had, because like we counted them. And I'm like, so I have follicles just disappearing, which are eggs. And I'm like, and then on top of that, they've like grown, but like they're not big enough. So now, like, instead of doing egg retrieval on Sunday, it's being pushed back again. Now I have made arrangements for Monday and Tuesday to work a half day instead of a full day, so that I could have just a little bit more time to have the anesthesia wear off from Sunday. But now it's not happening on Sunday. I have to go drive 2 hours one direction to be there for literally 5 minutes to do an ultrasound and blood work. And then she'll call me sometime on Sunday to let me know if I take the trigger medication on Sunday, or do I come back on Tuesday, continue taking these hormones, come back on Tuesday, right? So it just pushes everything back. Or like Sunday, if they don't see what they want to see, then we're done with this cycle, and wait another month, but we may not have a different So I call my client that I was supposed to see today, and I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I just need to try and know that I can't work on days I come down here in the morning, because it's always bad news, and I spend the rest of the day crying. And so what did I do? I made that phone call. I've been crying, which is why my makeup's now gone. My eyes are swollen. I went on TikTok went TikTok live. I was swearing, so now they banned me going live, which is just stupid. And so I lost my train of thought. So I called my husband, and so I tell him that, like, we have to go down on Sunday for another ultrasound and stuff, but they're not doing the egg retrieval, and that the egg retrieval might be not done until Monday or Tuesday of all this month. And his response was, well, I'm working. Who gives a shit if you're working? Like, I told you. And he's like, well, you told me Sunday. And I said, I told you that the tentative date was Sunday. And I said, which meant that, like, it could change. And I'm like, and as of right now, I said, which I told you, they would tell me today, it has changed. But I have driven every 3 days, 2 hours each direction, by myself, without him, because he had to work. And the one thing I asked from him was to be there for my egg retrieval, because I cannot drive myself home, because they put you under. And I'm a sexual assault survivor and a kidnapping survivor. So to be put under anesthesia, and have them going where they're going, any like female would like struggle with, but especially somebody with sex abuse trauma history like I do. So in any case, I called him back and was like, fuck you. Like, I'm like, I'm so pissed at you. And I'm like, you know, at some point, like, you're gonna lose out on a day of work. Like, you shouldn't have volunteered to work on Monday, which is your normal day off. Like, you knew that this date could get moved around. And I said, so what you're telling me is I need to find somebody else to bring me down there? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking shitting me. I'm like, I've done all this by myself. The hormones, all these appointments, and I'm like, and you like can't miss a day of work because your wife's going in for surgery. And I'm like, you have got to be fucking shitting me. That is supposed, like I want to leave him over it. Like, go straight to the courthouse, file for divorce, leave him. Like, last straw, leave him. I'm done. You know, just saying yes to IVF is not being supportive. Because, like, I don't need him to say yes to IVF for me to do this. And so to have him say that he's not going to show up on the most important day, it's just like a kick in the crotch. And it's disgusting. Like, I feel sick to my stomach, disgusted over that being his reaction. And I don't know, I feel very alone. Like, people don't understand. I go on TikTok and I talk about it. I'm like not reaching, or maybe there's just not a lot of people that are doing this IVF journey that are seeing my videos about it, or where people are searching for them on YouTube because they're not going through it yet. But you know, I was hoping like maybe to get some community support about it, and it's just not there. And it's like, if I went into this knowing I was going to do it by myself, that's like one thing, because you mentally prepare yourself for that, because like I don't want to see the comments of, oh well, like, you know, you chose to do this, blah 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 blah, and all these women do it by themselves. You're right, they do. But I went into this process doing this with my husband, who has decided that his only part in this is that he's okaying it. And we had some arguments where like there were things that I wanted, like there's this procedure that they can do called ICSI, where they take one sperm and inject into they take one sperm and inject it into one egg, and he didn't want to do that, and I did, because it increases your chances of a fertilized egg. And so it like wasn't a discussion. He didn't ask me, because I filled it out first and then sent to him, and then he just had to sign. Like, he wasn't allowed to change anything on it. So I sent it to him, and he's like, no, I don't want to do that, blah 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 blah. And not once did he ask me like, well, why did you select that? You know, it was, he didn't want that, and because he didn't want it, it wasn't an option. And when I would fight with him, like literally fight with him about it, he would just say, you change it or we're not doing it. We're not going through IVF. And that's not a fair response from your partner, to say, if you don't do it the way I want it done, then I'm pulling the plug and we're not doing it at all. It should have been a discussion of, well, why are you comfortable with doing the ICSI, or why do you want them to try to fertilize all the eggs instead of just some of them? Like, none of that was discussed. It was, if I felt different from him, then he literally told me to, if I said what, he's like, you need to shut the fuck up, and if you say one more word, he's like, we're not doing it. And I got really upset by that, because like that shouldn't have been his answer, you know. Like, it could have been like, hey, like, I don't feel comfortable consenting to this procedure, this is why, and then ask me like why I wanted to do it that way. And that's like how you properly communicate with people, and that's not what he did. And then to have a response of, you know, I'm putting an end to this if so I'm trying to keep a track of like where the hell I'm going. It was, if you don't change your mind about this, or you don't change it, that we're not doing it at all. And because you're pissing me off, if I hear one more word come out of your mouth, like, we're done with this whole process too. And no, another 10 miles, I think it says. And so I just was like flabbergasted, because I'm like, you know, this is supposed to be our decisions, not, you know, if I have a different feeling about it than you, then, you know, sucks to be you, you change it or we're done. Like, that's not okay, you know. And I like eventually said to him, I'm like, look, I don't have to do this with you. I said, I could have done this all by myself and not dealt with any of this grief and still had the baby that I desperately want. And I'm like, but like, we're married, so I want us to do this together. I want us to make these decisions together. And I said, but part of that also means that, like, just because you said, oh, I'm okay with having another child, doesn't mean that, you know, you get to control all this. And like, I feel like he's controlling things and like stupid things. And I'm like, look, like, I have gone and said, hey, like, okay, you don't want that it done that way. I do. So I'll try to find something that like meets you in the middle, or, you know, and there's like no meeting in the middle. It's his way or the highway, and that's just not fair. And then for him to have so much control over, or dictation on, this isn't going any further unless you do things the way I want them done, and then not show up when they're pulling eggs out of his wife's body, when I can't drive myself home for that. It's like, why then? If you're not going to be a part of that when I'm dealing like with my trauma and the fact that I physically cannot drive myself home, and I'm like, then why, like, should you have a say on any part of it anymore? And should I go back in, change the releases to everything that I want, and he just shuts the fuck up and he signs it and goes on with what I want to do? Because clearly, like, he's had no participation in any of the doctor's appointments. He's not participating in the day that I do my egg retrieval. So why should he have any say on how they're fertilized? Like, I would really like an answer to that, because, like, I am dumbfounded. I am tired of crying. I'm tired of the fact that, like, my body's not doing what it's supposed to do with these freaking hormones. I'm tired of the hormones making me extra emotional on something that would be emotional anyways. Like, I'm just emotionally and physically exhausted. So yeah, that's what I got for you guys. Today is May 2nd. Mother's Day is on the 10th, which coincidentally was my due date for my middle child, who was 2 weeks late, and I had him on the 21st. But he was due on the 10th. He was my 10-pound baby. So anyways, I'm going to keep pushing on, and I will update you guys, and don't know when TikTok is going to allow me to go live again, but I can at least post a video. So, like, comment, subscribe, share, especially if you have questions that I haven't answered in terms of IVF. If you guys want to see what the consents look like, I'll show you blank ones. Once I am no longer going down to the fertility center that I'm going to, I will release the name of the fertility center, but I don't want to do that until after I'm done going down there, just for safety reasons. We also, in my area, there's been a serial killer. They have found 10 bodies in the last 3 months, I think it is. One of which in the city that I have to go down to, that I've been going down to by myself. All 10 bodies have been found on the 91, the highway in which I drive to the center that I go to. And I drive this way every 3 days. So, you know, there's safety concern, and that's got to be another video, because, like, I'm going to get off track with things on why that's not safe. And but in any case, in my state, one, I have a concealed carry permit. But in my state, you no longer have to have one anyways, but I still have it. But in the state that I have to go into for my IVF stuff, does not allow you to carry at all. Like, you can't have a handgun, period. So I can't just take my Glock with me. And I don't like guns. So if I have that gun with me, like, I am clearly very scared. Quite frankly, I think that you are more safe without them than with them. But I'm also a gun violence survivor. So yeah. Anyways, see you next time.